in the Latino media business my whole life. I ran Telemundo, the Latino network. I produced over 700 shows in English and Spanish, launched a bunch of channels in Latin America, and a number of years ago I decided to take a sabbatical, something we all probably need to do. I took time off and decided to go back to school and get a master's and doctorate in clinical psychology of all things. I could probably be all your shrink right now, so it's really good. But what happened is that during that time, I get a call from Sandy Douglas, who is the president of Coca-Cola North America, and he invited me to be part of the advisory board. And when I got there, they were laser focused on Latinas in the US as the growth for the Coca-Cola company, the future. And I got interested and excited. And so since I was back in school, I decided to write my doctoral dissertation on Latinas in America. And in doing the research, I was finding out a lot, but I realized that I needed to take a Coca-Cola's playbook and go meet these Latinas to find out what was going on with them. And that was very contradictory to everything I had ever learned as a media person. So I had to really completely shift how I thought. And in going out on the road and meeting these Latinas, I learned a lot of things. I learned that in 2008, so many Latino men had lost their jobs, that Latinas had stepped it up. And they had gone into entrepreneurship, and all of a sudden had become the fastest growing entrepreneurs in America. And these machismo men that I was kind of used to in my culture, because of their kids, had really kind of supported these women in this. And so unbeknownst to me, these women started an incredible women's movement around entrepreneurship, empowerment, and financial literacy. They were looking for that content. And so I decided to go around the country. I thought, what if I go around and I give them training and bring them role models and create a community and do events all over the country? Couldn't I possibly change the economics of Latinas in one generation? Isn't that worth doing? So I created this thing called the Adelante movement. And you guys are all going to love this word because Adelante means, come on, let's get going, let's do it. And so I couldn't believe the response we got. And so you guys are getting some insights and secrets from a woman who's been on the road for 3 years, speaking to Latinas one-on-one, from Miami to LA to small towns where they're emerging. And I'll give you some insights. So the first thing which you can probably figure out from what I've said is that these Latinas have become the heads of the households. They can be 12 or they can be 75. If they're 12, they have immigrant parents that don't speak English. They're helping them navigate the US. They're a translator and they're helping them figure out how to make money. The Latina millennials are the biggest influencers of the millennial cohort, which are the fastest growing cohort of the multiculturals. And the older Latinas are starting businesses en masse. Why? Because mobile and digital is their best friend. They're technologically very proficient and the men are helping them. So with all that being said, I hope I'm convincing you that these women are a big growth engine for you. So what are some of the secrets to winning over their hearts and minds? Well, there's a million secrets, so some of you will have to ask me other ones later, but I thought of the 3 most important ones. First is, how do we communicate with these Latinas? And I'm here to tell you, in English. So when you look at my Adelante tour, 90% of the events are in English and only 10% are in Spanish. Why? Because the language of empowerment, the language of entrepreneurship, and the language of business is English. Very different than when I was running Telemundo. It's shifted radically in 10 years. Something to do with technology and with the millennials, and also with these women interested in becoming self-made. Number 2, it's really about the mainstream. I want us to ask ourselves, are we reaching these women in a marginalized, ghettoized way? Are we still reaching them only in Hispanic media? These are women that they feel like they're part of the mainstream, and that's what they desire. They watch and want to be on The View, on Meet the Press, in a primetime network show. They want to write for Huffington Post, not just Latino Huffington Post. So I ask all of you to think about that. Are we still creating a narrative around Latinas and around the Latino community that's ghettoized and that's over here in the outskirts when we're saying this is our future? And thirdly, we've got to get the Latino voice correct. I get a call all the time. Hey, can you find me another Sofia Vergara to be in an ad of mine? And I'm like, I love Sofia Vergara, but Sofia Vergara is a Latin American woman. Not everyone sounds like Sofia Vergara or looks like Sofia Vergara. So what is the voice of a US Latina? I would say she's a younger version of me, right? So who is she? What is she looking for? What is she into? She's not into fluff. She's not into celebrities. She's into content that's going to take her to becoming self-made. And what are her values? Family, friends, religion, community, and going forward, helping her family, right? So I want to do a call to action because everything about PTTOW is what are we going to do right now? I think it's very important to look inward first. If we're going to create something new, and we're saying the Latino market has shifted radically, what are we doing in each of our companies? What are our companies look like? Do we have Latinos working for us? Are we recruiting them? Are we training them? Are they becoming our suppliers? I want us to really think about that. You know, so many people call me all the time, they go, oh, my nanny told me this, and my assistant told me that, and my cleaning lady told me this, and that's okay, and I don't take that personally because I love those women. But I want us to think about, are you hiring Nellies? Are you hiring the next me, and are you only putting them to do Latino? Or are you giving them a mainstream role? Because I hope I've convinced you now that Latinas are the #1 emerging market. That Latinas are your biggest growth engine. And I hope you, like them, will go. Adelante.